Tonight's story reminds us that the greatest weapon in the world is not strength, not speed, and certainly not a gun. It is intelligence. Welcome to The Midnight Visitor, a brilliant mystery written by Robert Arthur. At first glance, this may seem like an ordinary spy story, but within a few minutes you'll discover why it has become one of the most memorable suspense stories in English literature. So dim the lights, imagine yourself walking through the narrow corridors of an old French hotel, and step into a world where appearances can be dangerously misleading. Robert Arthur was an American author best known for writing mystery, detective, and suspense stories. Unlike many writers who relied on thrilling action scenes, Arthur believed that the human mind could create even greater suspense than guns or explosions. His stories often prove that clever thinking can defeat even the strongest opponent. The Midnight Visitor is a perfect example of that style. Every conversation, every decision, and every small detail slowly builds toward a surprising ending that leaves readers amazed by the power of presence of mind. Now, let us meet the most unusual secret agent you will probably ever encounter, Ozable. If someone asked you to imagine a spy, you would probably picture a tall, athletic man wearing an elegant suit, moving silently through the shadows. Ozable was nothing like that. He was overweight, spoke with a noticeable American accent, breathed with a slight wheeze, and appeared more like an ordinary office worker than an international spy. Yet behind this ordinary appearance was an extraordinarily sharp mind. He remained calm under pressure, observed every situation carefully, and relied on intelligence rather than violence. His greatest weapon was not a pistol, it was his ability to think faster than everyone else. The second important character is Fowler, a young writer fascinated by the mysterious world of espionage. Having read exciting novels about secret agents, he dreamed of witnessing dramatic adventures filled with danger, secret messages, and daring escapes. When he finally received the chance to accompany Ozable, his expectations were sky high. But as he followed the heavy, wheezing man through the gloomy corridors of the hotel, disappointment slowly replaced excitement. Was this really the famous secret agent everyone talked about? Little did Fowler know that before the night ended, he would witness a display of intelligence more thrilling than any action scene he had ever imagined. Every mystery needs an opponent, and in this story that role belongs to Max. Unlike Ozable, Max looked exactly like a dangerous spy. He was slender, alert, and sharp-featured, with a fox-like face that reflected both intelligence and cunning. Calm and confident, he carried a small automatic pistol and believed that force could solve every problem. His mission was simple: to steal a highly confidential report before it reached the wrong hands. The final important character is Henry, an ordinary hotel waiter. At first, Henry appears completely unimportant, but by the end of the story, his brief arrival becomes the final piece of a brilliant psychological trap. The story begins on a quiet night inside an old French hotel. The narrow corridor stretched into darkness, lit only by a few dim lights that cast long shadows across the worn wooden floor. The air felt silent and heavy. Ozable walked ahead with slow, confident steps while Fowler followed behind, observing everything carefully. The hotel itself looked far too ordinary to be the setting for an exciting spy adventure. There were no secret doors, no hidden agents, and no dramatic music, only an aging building and a tired-looking secret agent. Fowler couldn't hide his disappointment. This was certainly not the glamorous world he had imagined. Finally, Ozable reached his room. As he unlocked the door, he casually joked with Fowler about his disappointment, almost as if he had read every thought running through the young writer's mind. But the moment the light switched on, everything changed. Standing calmly inside the room was another man. In his hand rested a small automatic pistol. His eyes remained fixed on Ozable with complete confidence. Fowler froze instantly. At last, the excitement he had been waiting for had arrived, but not in the way he expected. The quiet hotel room had suddenly become one of the most dangerous places in the city. The armed man introduced himself as Max. His voice remained calm, almost polite, but the pistol in his hand made every word dangerous. He had come for a secret report containing valuable military information and intended to take it before it reached Ozable. Surprisingly, Ozable showed almost no fear. Instead of panicking, he quietly sat down in a chair and began speaking as though this unexpected visitor were merely an inconvenience. Fowler could hardly believe his eyes. One man held a loaded gun, while the other calmly carried on a conversation. It was impossible to know who truly controlled the situation, but beneath Ozable's relaxed expression, an extraordinary plan had already begun to take shape. To Fowler's complete surprise, Ozable didn't argue or show any fear. Instead, he calmly began complaining about a balcony outside his window. He explained that the balcony actually belonged to the neighboring room and had become a serious security problem. Just a month earlier, someone had entered his room through it, and although the hotel management had promised to block the access, they never did. Ausable spoke with such confidence and irritation that his story sounded completely genuine. Every detail seemed believable, and before long, even Max accepted the existence of the balcony without questioning it. Without realizing it, the armed spy had already begun falling into Ausable's carefully planned trap. Just as the tension reached its peak, a loud knock echoed through the room. The sudden sound broke the silence and instantly caught everyone's attention. Max tightened his grip on the pistol, while Fowler stood frozen, unsure of what would happen next. But Ausable remained astonishingly calm. Looking towards the door, he casually remarked that it must be the police. He explained that because the report he was expecting was extremely important, he had requested extra police protection. Another knock followed, along with a voice calling, "Mr. Ausable." Hearing this, Max's confidence began to disappear. The man who had entered the room so confidently was now clearly becoming nervous. Realizing he had very little time left, Max searched desperately for a way to escape. His eyes immediately fell upon the window and the balcony Ausable had described moments earlier. Believing it was his only chance, he slowly backed towards the window while keeping his pistol aimed at Ausable and Fowler. Before climbing out, he warned Ausable to send the police away, or he would shoot. Convinced that the balcony would keep him safe until the police left, Max stepped onto the windowsill and disappeared through the window, completely unaware that he had trusted nothing more than a clever lie. Only a moment later, a sharp scream echoed through the night. Almost immediately, the door opened, but instead of police officers, it was Henry, the hotel waiter, carrying a tray with the drinks Ausable had ordered earlier. Fowler looked at him in complete disbelief. There had been no police at all. Confused, he turned towards Ausable and asked about Max waiting on the balcony. Ausable simply smiled and revealed the truth. There was no balcony. It had never existed. Everything had been part of a brilliantly planned deception that tricked Max into defeating himself. This moment perfectly shows why Ausable is such an extraordinary secret agent. He never relied on strength or violence. Instead, he stayed calm under pressure and carefully studied Max's behavior. Realizing that fear could cloud his judgment, Ausable invented the balcony and then reinforced the lie by pretending the police had arrived. Every word he spoke guided Max towards making the wrong decision. Without touching his enemy or firing a single shot, Ausable escaped danger through nothing but intelligence and remarkable presence of mind. Every character contributes something important to the story. Ausable teaches us that intelligence is more valuable than physical appearance. Fowler represents every reader, beginning the story with unrealistic ideas about spies but ending with a completely different understanding. Max is intelligent and experienced, yet his fear and overconfidence cause his downfall. Finally, Henry, though he appears only briefly, unknowingly completes Ausable's brilliant plan and helps create one of the most memorable endings in the story. The Midnight Visitor teaches us several valuable lessons. It reminds us never to judge people by their appearance, because true ability often remains hidden beneath an ordinary exterior. It also shows that intelligence, confidence, and quick thinking are often far more powerful than weapons or physical strength. Through Ausable's clever actions, Robert Arthur proves that staying calm and thinking wisely can overcome even the most dangerous situations. By the end of that unforgettable night, Fowler's idea of what makes a great secret agent had completely changed. He had expected thrilling chases and gunfights, but instead witnessed something far more impressive: a victory won entirely through intelligence. Ausable defeated a dangerous enemy without violence, proving that the sharpest weapon is a calm and clever mind. That is why The Midnight Visitor continues to be remembered as one of Robert Arthur's finest mystery stories, leaving readers with a lesson they never forget. True strength lies not in force, but in the power of intelligent thinking.